my lovelies. I am excited to share a new series I want to do here on the YouTube. I am tentatively calling it Behind the Routines. The goal of this series is to take you behind the scenes of some awesome Lindy Hop routines. It rhymes! I'm going to be talking to choreographers and performers about their art, their inspirations, their influences, their ideas, and how they make the wonderful things that we all love. For my first episode, I am so excited to be talking to Ben and Sheri Yao, the choreographers and team leaders behind the California Rolls. I am a little bit very much completely obsessed with their routine To Love Me or Leave Me, which I saw first time was the LindyFest 2011 performance, even though they performed it for the first time in 2009 at Camp Hollywood and ILHC. I was so honored when I completely randomly reached out to them. I've never met them before and was just like, hey, can I talk to you about your song choices, your influences, how you come with choreography, and how do you run a fabulous team? And they totally were wonderful and generous with their time. And so here is my interview with them. It's mostly them talking. They are the ones with the knowledge and the wisdom and the fabulousness. Throughout this interview, Ben and Sheri do pop in and out because they now have 3 kids. And in the battle of attention between a Zoom interview and their flesh and blood, I lost every single time. So you might see just one of them talking or both of them talking without any context to why one has disappeared. It's because their children needed their attention for a little moment. Oh, most of the clips I'm featuring in this video are from the early 2000s, and therefore their quality is of the early 2000s. So be ready for a lot of potato camera quality clips coming your way.
Well, my name is Sheri. My husband Ben.
Hi.
We are married, and we are dance partners. And we were actually dance partners first, and then got married. We met in 1999, and we each started dancing in 1998. We are, I guess, what we would say, kind of the gap generation.
It's 1998, the gap generation.
Yeah.
Because that's when I started dancing from watching that version.
I started because of the movie Swingers, actually.
So the first thing I'm really curious about is the team itself. Was it a pre-existing team that trained on the regular basis, or did you guys come together for the competition season? How did this all work? Who are the California Rolls? How did you guys come together?
So we put a lot of clips up on our website. And so as I saw traffic coming in mostly to see clips, I just started trying to rotate clips in and out of things that inspired me. And one thing that inspired me was this hip hop clip. The guy's name, I found out his name is David Elsewhere. It's a 2001 clip from an event called Collaboration. He's wearing this orange shirt, very innovative what he does. Fortunately, on the clip, it said Collaboration 2001. So I started looking at what Collaboration was. And it's a local event here in Los Angeles. The purpose of the event was to have awareness about Asian Americans. It started out as Koreans and just Asians that were very creative, were very artistic. He wanted it to be a platform for artists because he said, we don't just do math, we don't just do this, we actually know how to dance, sing. So that was his original intent. And so I wrote the organizer and said, hey, I really like this event. I saw it from this clip, and we're swing dancers. We've noticed you don't have any swing dancing or Lindy Hop, and that's something that we do, and we would like to perform at one of your events. And that's how it started. We started the team specifically to perform at Collaboration. It was just going to be a one-time thing.
Because we just wanted to showcase swing dancing for them and just put together a team to make it special. We really wanted to make sure that, more than 50% of the team was Asians.
And always wanted a big check. So they gave us, we actually won first place. We got this big check. I still have it. I love this check.
Yeah.
I always wanted a big check.
All of our stuff has been kind of pushed into the garage because of kids' toys and stuff, but that one has still stayed.
That has to stay.
And a couple other of our prize trophies.
It sparks joy.
Yeah. Because we all had such a great time and such a great bond and friendship that we were just like, well, we can't just stop here.
Well,
we got to do something.
A lot of it was we had actually started thinking about doing a team, and we knew what we went through because we were like, we can't put this on anybody. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to do this. We were basically, 6 nights a week. There's nothing going on except dancing and stuff. 7 nights a week, so we don't know when actual dishes and laundry is done. And I'm sure you understand that. It can take over your lives and consume your lives. And we weren't sure we wanted to put that on anybody, or if we demanded that, we weren't sure how it would happen. Our expectations were we tried to keep them tempered or something, but they just blew right through our expectation. And they worked so hard. It was just really touching and just to see their dedication and how hard they worked. Yeah. And it made us want to work harder. After Collaboration, we're like, okay, let's let's go to the next event.
And the team itself too, just the background, everybody was still working. I mean, nobody was a professional dancer, like full-time teacher. In fact,
not just
even
that,
we weren't.
our average age when we started the team, the average age of the team was 34. So we're also
kind of old.
Develop the next event's Camp Hollywood. We kind of already have this routine done. We just have to figure out a way to add a minute to the song to meet the Camp Hollywood requirement. And that's how it started.
Are you meeting every single week, like once a week to have a session? I'm really curious to see how you ran that team, because you guys were so matched. You guys were so together. So I want to understand, how did you get that? Tell me your secrets, please. Thank you.
Okay, I can probably answer some of this for you.
Team mom.
Yeah, team mom. Team mom was pretty much reining everyone in together. We had one practice usually during the week, and then on the weekend we would meet on Saturday and Sunday. So we had that routine, but we also had a second equally competitive routine running at the same time. So each year we competed. Our team
was 20 people usually. And we
22 to 26 people.
So we wanted to get everyone on the competition.
So we ended up doing 2 competition routines, which actually would always compete for first together. So we were like, our goal is for each routine to both get first. And we know, of course, there's no possible way for that to happen, but each of them practiced with that in mind. Like nobody ever said, oh, I'm on the B team. As we were working with one routine, the other one was practicing. So we would assign lieutenants who would help to run those ones while we were with the other one, and then we'd flip-flop. I delegated out different jobs and roles for people so that it didn't always fall on me, and I didn't always have to be the bad cop about like people showing up and stuff. So we had what was called an attendance sheriff who would make sure that all the people were there and they were counted for. Anybody who was attendant. Schedule sheriff.
They got to collect money from whoever was late.
Yeah. Didn't tell us that they were going to show up. Like our Love Me or Leave Me routine, if you didn't show up, one spot was that crucial to not be like to run the routine, because we'd have to have the intertwining of everybody moving.
I grew up watching a lot of Broadway, just tons of Broadway, so I feel like I've been influenced by the best choreographers in the world. My very first movie I remember watching was Singing in the Rain with a lot of dancing. And I watched that like 2 or 3 times a year since I was probably 4. And I thought that was normal too. I didn't realize it wasn't. But I was very fortunate. My dad would take me out all the time to watch live shows, or he'd be playing movies. And so one thing kind of just simmered in the back of my head was that, teams were not taking advantage of the fact that they were teams, because you can actually utilize everybody to draw a picture. It's just not a couple drawing a picture in different places, and it's just not a simple formation team. You can move everybody and make things happen. And if you look at our choreography, the moves really are not complicated. It's the formations and the way we move people around that we were utilizing.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, what Sheri's saying is like, if one person's out, I mean, that's the only way you can really get that polished is just a lot of practice. You have to do it in person.
Of where other people are spatially around you. It held everybody to a really high standard, because if you're gone, you're holding back everybody, and it's just not fair.
We performed it first at Camp Hollywood 2009, and then again at ILHC 2009. It was at ILHC that I think people really became aware of that, and I think for a long time that was the clip that was passed through.
They also performed the routine at the U.S. Swing Dance Championships in November 2009, not only winning first place, but it was so well received they were asked for an encore performance, something that hadn't been done for about 18 years.
And then LindyFest 2011, I think now is it's really passed around a lot. So the timeline was 2008 was our first real competition year. And then with 2 different routines. It was the Kung Fu fighting routine, and it was the Sing the Scales routine. 2009, we decided let's go at this even harder, and that was the All the Cats Join In routine and the Love Me or Leave Me routine. 2010 was the Shipoopi routine and the Hawaiian rolls routine. And then the encore LindyFest invitation. It was such an honor to have them invite us. And we just like, okay, we need to go and do this. It'll be another special experience for everybody. And that was 2011. Up until that point, I would say Lindy Hop history was fairly solid with Love Me or Leave Me from Minnie's Moochers. So that was an untouchable song.
When he asked me, do you want to, like, this is the routine that I've been thinking about for a long time. And I really
Before our team started, it was something I thought about for us to do. I mean, I just love that song so much.
Yeah. And I was like,
it was untouchable.
oh no, we can't do that. And then he told me, it's not going to have any aerials. I'm like, what? It's not going to have any aerials? How's that going to be a team routine? All team routines have aerials. You have to have the aerials. There have to have this. He's like, there will be none. And it's not even going to be like super fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of them have to be super fast. You see all the like look at the ninja.
At the time, at the time, that was what the routines really were. I couldn't get the pictures out of my head.
But then when he started to tell me and walk me through what he saw as far as like the overall skeletal like framework of the routine, I was like, okay, that might work.
I still have my diagrams. I would Photoshop paper, like just little squares, like Visio. Squares here. The way I choreograph is play the song and I just pretend I'm watching a Broadway show or a movie. And I would just picture what I would be seeing on stage. And that's how the choreography came about. Then I had to like explain to the team the images in my head, and it was really difficult. So I would try to do Visios. I would take everyone's phone and put their name on it and move them around. I would make little pictures of their faces and then tape it on their phone so that we could see how the movement works. The pictures were almost like forcing themselves on me. It's like, no, you need to do this. It's like going to be awesome and amazing and something that'll just live on forever because it's going to be amazingly creative with this music. And I couldn't get those pictures out of my head.
But it was definitely a risk because, you know, that song was already used so well and so memorable. And it was like an inspiration to so many. Like, how could we make that? It still is, yeah. And how could we touch that and make it our own, but still make it really something extremely like special to us as well, and still honor what they did as artists and stuff too.
So the first part of the routine was a little bit more of a tribute to them, the movement and the way we were dancing around. And then when the instrumental kicks in, that was then more our thing where we start really changing the shapes around.
Can I ask if you had any other influences in your choreography process?
In high school, I was in marching band and also did tall flags. I'm used to working in movement of groups of formations, especially the portion where our whole line kind of shifts and does this. So that was definitely from my input as wanting to see something that was a marching band formation on a field shift.
One of the people's most favorite parts is the piano part at the end. And the influence of that came from my high school's drill team. All the drill team members, there was like 30, would be kneeling down, like in rows and columns. And the music was such that they would like pop up randomly, like jump up off the ground and spring off the ground.
So we pulled from a little bit from hip hop, a little bit from ballet.
America's Best Dance Crew is an amazing show. Watching a lot of America's Best Dance Crew.
Sorry, just for non-American audience, including myself, what is a drill team?
So any halftime show where there's the group of people dancing, that's like a drill team.
How did you manage to achieve that level of cohesion with assumably individual dancers who have their own personal style?
When we said we're not going to necessarily make you better, you will get better because we'll be having you dance different styles and things like that. And so there's a clip also out there where we had to practice. The 5 guys wouldn't get their arms right, so we're like, damn, remember this thing? And we're like for about 5 minutes just going like this together. We would do it in a circle, and then we'd actually, I think at one time, had to close our eyes and then just kind of keep doing that.
So we put on the music, and so everybody had to hear it, process it, and kind of what we like perform the movement at the same time, even with their eyes closed, so they couldn't visually see, so that they could hear in the music the right timing.
It basically is a lot of work.
Each person's personal responsibility that they were going to, take care of themselves to execute it the way that it needed to be done. Part of it was just the learning of it, and then after that, just the practice of it so that it became automatic.
At our weekday practice, we didn't have a mirror, so we would actually tape it and then watch it during practice and tape it and watch it. And things like that.
As far as like organizing the team and all that kind of stuff, that definitely comes on my strengths, being a director of a clinic and having to manage other people. So we really utilize the strengths of this team and recognize them. And we even went through stuff like where we would have each person write down 3, positive things for your team members and teammates. And we compile that and then read it so that, the times when it was getting tough or you were feeling bad or, having a little bit of drama, you kind of pull those out and say, hey, these are what your teammates said about you,
Now, when you look back on this particular routine, how do you feel about it?
I've gotten to the point where I just really appreciate the time that we had. It was just very memorable. I can't honestly tell you which routine's my favorite. I think it depends on my mood. It's like, when you ask someone what's their top 5 movies, it might rotate around. And I love all our routines, and I think it just depends on my mood. Love Me or Leave Me definitely the reason that stands out more is just that circumstances around it, again, that was untouchable with the Minnie's Moochers, just to stand alongside, because I just wanted it to be memorable. That was my only goal, is to be memorable. It just happened to be to a song that was already unforgettable from a earlier routine. So just those extenuating circumstances is, to me, what makes that unique. So the process of going through that is really what makes that memorable to me as well.
That routine, I feel like, because there weren't any aerials, because it was such a different kind of flow, it was, a lot of people came up to us afterwards and said, thank you so much for doing that routine. Not only that, it makes me feel like, and this would be coming from like an older dancer, like something I could even possibly do. Like it was accessible to them.
Any dancer that may not have the ability to do or desire to do something physical like an aerial, they felt that this routine was accessible and at the same time magic. And so I think it gives people a light in them that they can do something magic with just whatever is accessible
whatever they have in them.
Mostly because you guys have been around for a long time and you've seen the world of Lindy Hop change so much. So I want to ask you, for your personal opinion, what would you say is the spirit of Lindy Hop?
That always pops into my mind is Frankie Manning. Whatever circumstances that you're in, who you are, whatever you believe in, whatever, if we just boil down to the fact that you just love this music, you love to move to the music, ever sparked joy for you, and you let that light out, you let that joy out in your, however you express it, and it's yours, that's what makes it really special.
With our team, like we always said, practice is what you're trying to do to make it perfect. But when you're on the dance floor, just like stop. You know, the practice was to get the muscle memory hit through. But once you're on the dance floor, just dance with joy. However it comes out, we'll be happy as long as it's joyful. Yeah. And that was always something very big with us. I mean, we can see it when we judge as well, where people are inspired by someone who's joyful and not like worrying about something. And so just bring the joy out, and however it comes out, we'll be happy. We practice for, to try to make it perfect, whatever that'll end up being, but then just dance with your heart and dance for your team and dance for yourself.
Huge thank you to Ben and Sheri for their time. They were so generous with me, sharing like almost 2 hours of their time in the morning, as well as lots of behind the scene clips, information, and their diagrams of how they did all their formations. It was so wonderful. Ben and Sheri, you were so incredibly kind and so wonderful to talk to. It felt like kindred spirits coming together, and I am so excited to hopefully one day meet you. I think you guys are wonderful, and I am so inspired by your art. And so thank you so much for creating this art and putting it out into the world to inspire people for generations to come. Like you said, you wanted it to be memorable, and you were thinking about that big picture of it being memorable, and I promise you, you have surpassed your goals, because this is an unforgettably wonderful routine to me. If you, audience member, you have a particular routine you'd like to hear the story behind, leave it in comments down below, and maybe I'll be able to get in touch with the people behind it, and then maybe they'll talk to me on camera about it. If you like what I'm doing here on the YouTubes, please consider subscribing. And if you really like what I'm doing here on the YouTubes, please consider checking out my Patreon and sponsoring me to make more. Seriously, I cannot express to you guys how wonderful Ben and Sheri are, and how much I enjoy talking to them, and how much I kind of want to be part of the California Rolls now. I know it's not a troupe that's still running, but I really want to be a California Roll. Anyways, okay, thanks, bye!